fish out of water, like ensemble cast sort of thing, and I try to talk about like different women and different experiences. But I'm still kind of trying to figure out like whether it's a satire, and I think it is, but I'm not sure like if it's super effective yet. There are some times where I think that it's like, are people really getting the joke, you know? There's some moments where I'm just like, I don't know, if you take that at face value, you're kind of sort of reinforcing stereotypes.
Because what's the premise in Glow? Because I remember reading something about like, was it all like women wrestlers or something?
Yeah, all women wrestlers. So apparently there was this thing actually called Worst Ladies of Wrestling. And the premise from which I've only seen like the first few episodes, but it's like different women, like they're, you know, in this wrestling kind of reality show, and, you know, like they sell fan service and whatnot, but the director kind of thinks that it's really fun to like play to like their stereotypes. So like if the girl's like from Europe, like they give her like a posh British accent, or, you know, if she's like punk rock or whatever, she's always like flipping people off and shaking her hair, you know, just like really like stereotypes from it to 11. There's actually a black female character, and her character actually is the welfare queen. And I can stop there.
Okay.
And there are times where it's just like, I hope that they're laughing with her and not at her. You know, because that's kind of what happened with Dave Chappelle back in the day, where he had that whole like cognitive dissonance experience in which he's like, are people laughing with me or at me? Right. Depending on the context in which you take his satire, yeah, could kind of backfire. Right. But yeah. I've only seen like the first 4 episodes. I haven't finished it, but you know, it's set in like the 80s, so it's kind of like that, you know, 80s corniness, and you know, they have like the songs and stuff like that. So it's cool. It's enjoyable.
Okay. Good. I want to watch it because I like 80s things, but I wasn't sure yet. And there's only so much you can watch on Netflix because they have too much on there.
There is too much on there. I agree with that.
The only thing I can say I've watched in full is Voltron Legendary Defender. And that's it for now. Anywho.
Well, I watched Mad Men like several times over on, you know, Netflix. So any Glow, like, minor spoiler, like there are actually quite a few characters from Mad Men that appear on this show.
Oh, nice.
Along with Alison Brie, who played Trudy, Peter Campbell's wife.
How many seasons were there of Mad Men?
7.
Okay, and they're like hour-long episodes.
Yeah.
All right, that's on my eventual binge watch list.
It's really like bingeable though. Like it's like once you start, you can't stop.
Okay, that's good to know. Cause okay, all right, yeah. Once I make some space on my DVR, I'll jump to Netflix. Do that.
Yeah.
So for our listeners, this is actually the second time I talked to you, but first time on Blerdlines.
Yep.
So before we get into like talking about a sad ending of a wonderful show, let's start with you, Selina the Wunderkat. Can you tell our listeners like who you are? There's some things about you for those who haven't heard your other episode on Let's Talk Weekly podcast.
Okay, so to be brief, I go by Selina the Wunderkat. That's my cosplay name, and I've been cosplaying on and off since 2009. And I'm actually a scientist in real life, so some of the characters I cosplay, like, you know, Dexter's Laboratory, sort of like speak to me as being an actual scientist. I usually end up at CamiCon in Birmingham and DragonCon in Atlanta.
And DragonCon is coming up in
about 50 days.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Are you excited?
I gotta get cosplays done. Yeah, I'm excited. I went to DragonCon for the first time last year, and it was a blast. Like, I met awesome people, like cosplayers that I had, followed very enthusiastically, and then I got to like kind of get to know them as people. For example, Celestial, who was formerly known as Soba Noodles when I met her. I mean, she was a sweetheart, and it was just really awesome, like getting to spend some time and hang out with her. Also, like Toriyami Art, Tori Minaka. I mean, I got to meet her too, so that was great. And even Chrissy Victory, who's definitely, one of the faves. She's so sweet and petite. She kind of said that I towered over her, but either way, I was starstruck. So, Dragon Con to me is really like a big family reunion, and I am so stoked. Even if I only get one cosplay done, it will be worth it. That was just such a good experience last year.
Is this always is it the first week in September? Or
Yes, it is Labor Day weekend every single year.
okay,
Hmm.
maybe 2018, maybe for me, maybe.
Hey, don't pressure yourself. I mean, I had been wanting to go to Dragon Con since 2012, and it finally happened for me last year. So pace yourself, because I mean, Dragon Con is a really big con. It's the largest, or definitely one of the largest cons in the Southeast, and people from literally all over the world travel to Atlanta to be at this con. And it grows exponentially every year. It was close to, I think, 78,000 people last year for the 30th anniversary.
Wow. Okay, that's a
My
lot.
numbers must be wrong, but they should be close. It was still about that range.
Okay. Hmm. We'll see. We'll see. I know that's one of those cons where you need to plan at least a year out or before.
Yes, you
So,
should. Dragon Con, especially like if you're a cosplay enthusiast or cosplayer or both, it's kind of like a big kind of fashion week. I mean, everybody brings out like their biggest, baddest cosplays. I mean, you could just literally sit there at the Starbucks in the lobby and just like your eyes just bug out. Like, how is this? How do people? Where do you even? I don't even know how to. The first thing to. Yeah. I mean, unbelievable cosplays. Unbelievable.
mhm.
Like, a lot of them defy logic, in my opinion.
Yeah, because there was one. I don't think it was Dragon Con last year. It might have been San Diego International. Yeah, San Diego International Comic Con where somebody did the Veronica Iron Man suit from Age of Ultron,
Oh,
and
really?
I think he had like work like speakers and working lights and stuff,
Hmm.
and I think I saw that he had handlers like helping him put it together. I was like, okay, that's good. That's a lot of dedication and time, and I don't know. I'm like I have the time, but I don't know where to start with something like that. So more power to you.
I mean, I think with San Diego, it's definitely kind of a different, scene there. Like they're close to LA and Hollywood. I heard like some cosplayers like actually like work on movie sets themselves, so they probably have more experience that way, maybe more access to materials, techniques with other colleagues who may not even cosplay. I mean, you never know. I think the context is really important.
True, because and I think and you said about Dragon Con being like a family reunion. I think the same thing could be said for Blerdcon, at least from how it appeared to me from the pictures and stuff I saw.
Oh yeah, it definitely gave me that vibe.
Uh, Blerdcon has to happen next year. I need to go. So you need to go too.
I I definitely, want to go to. I'm always a little skeptical about cons, like when they open the first year, because, you just don't know. And with cons being so mainstream and popular these days, a lot of them are kind of just like they'll go up one day and then you'll never see them or hear about them again. But it seems
True.
like WorldCon had already like such a good running start, and a lot of people promoting it and lauding it and saying like this is the con that I dreamed of as a person of color, as a queer person of color. I mean, that was really inspiring, to hear and see those videos of everybody interacting and hugging and just being safe in their own space. I mean, that alone should really drive the numbers up next year. So who knows what they're going to come up with.
Oh, true. I agree because I think it was I think I was kind of like in the same boat as you, like a little unsure, like a first year con. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
be like talking to people who were like behind some people behind the scenes and people who have with panels and bringing their companies there. So okay, I have faith. I really want to go and
Mm-hmm.
um so I'm happy to see it worked out and I think it might have I'm not sure what the numbers were, but it was a pretty good amount from what I heard. So I don't know if it was published yet. That's why I didn't want to say what I heard, but I think it was a pretty good turnout for a first year.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, there are people like I believe Pretty Brown and Nerdy, um, their blog entertainment group for Black Girl Nerds. They were really, hyping it up, and they're saying, "Oh, I'm giving it like 4 out of 5 stars." And yeah, you have to think like people could be biased because they're directly working with the con. But again, I saw so many shares of stories after stories of, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad I came here. Oh my gosh, this was so worth coming to DC. I'm counting on the news to next year, especially with Black Panther coming out. I mean, it's going to be so hyped, so lit."
yes,
So yeah, I think that just about took all of the skepticism out of me.
mm,
And at the
yeah,
very least, I look forward to seeing what they're going to be doing. Even if I can't make it next year, I definitely look forward to all of the posts and panels and stories, and I definitely hope that it continues to grow.
I do too. And I'm just gonna just throw this out there. It would be nice to have like some kind of like live recording of a podcast there. I'm just saying it because self promotion,
Well,
self
somebody
promotion.
should make that happen.
Yeah, self promotion, right? Tiffron, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I had to say that, but okay. So one of the reasons that we came together to do this episode was because of Samurai Jack finally getting its much deserved fond farewell. I think that's the right way to say it. Oh, but before we get into talking about Jack's final season, let's take a quick break and be right back.
Hey, cats and kittens, you're on with Selina the Wunderkat, and you're listening to the epically awesome Blerdlines podcast. Thanks so much for listening.
We're back, and now we're talking about season 5 of Samurai Jack. And if you haven't seen it, pause now and go watch 10 episodes and come back. I'll wait. Okay, thank
You're
you.
not going to literally wait, are
No,
you?
I'm not. Okay. No, I think no. The pause for a dramatic effect. But we did, and this is all spoilers from here on out, everybody. So I'm gonna pass this to you. I would love to hear your thoughts. 'Cause I know we talked about it over Messenger, but it's been out for it's been over for what about couple months now.
Couple months, I want to say. Was it April?
Yeah,
I don't
because
know. I lose track of the time in summer. I don't know what day
say
it is.
it started in March and it was 10 episodes, so one episode a week. It ended like Mayish,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, May June. So what were your thoughts on this like wrap up?
I think when I think about the ending, the first word that comes to mind is bittersweet. I think that it is appropriate to who Jack is as a person. I think it's appropriate for the tone of the show that it ended tragically but yet peacefully. I think that really speaks to the essence of who Jack is. And I think the choice of, partner, I thought was really appropriate in how, she tied into Aku and all of that.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. It was bittersweet, and I'll say with that ending when she disappeared, I don't know why like my brain of like loving paradoxes just didn't think about it until it happened, and it's like, oh, that's right. Uh,
Yeah, like it just has to happen. And the only thing to me was weird is that, well, when she went back to Jack's time, I mean, she could have disappeared then. So I really think for really upping the drama and the romanticism of it all, that, you know, she would disappear like on their wedding day, in which case their relationship would be, quote, solidified. I guess it just seemed more poetic for her to disappear at that time. So I just thought if she was going to disappear, like, she could have also disappeared like as soon as they got there.
True,
But I think,
she could have.
yeah, so that part was like a little bit hard to believe from the whole, you know, time travel sense. Like, okay, if it was a paradox, she should have already disappeared. But again, for the show, I think that was, you know, what they were trying to do. That otherwise, if circumstances were different, she would have been, you know, the ideal partner for Jack.
Right.
And that if circumstances were different, you know, she probably, you know, would have spent her days adventuring with him and raising children and, you know, their version of their happily ever after. But again, given the tone of the show and what it stands for and who Jack is and how he approaches life and how, you know, he's known tragedy, and that's pretty much so commonplace for him that it kind of makes sense that it would follow the same sequence.
True.
But even still, Jack got to be happy.
He did.
Jack got to be happy and fall in love and enjoy companionship and really relish that, you know, he had someone who supported him and understood him and can still, you know, hold their own. Mm-hmm. Again, I think they created the perfect partner in Ashi for Jack.
True.
But the irony of her circumstances, I think, is what made it so compelling. You know, like Romeo and Juliet, oh, my only love sprung from my only hate, blah, blah, blah. But I think that they kind of did borrow it from, you know, that case.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think looking at the season as a whole, compared to the entire series, it's like the only season that's like really self-contained, where everything did follow on it was I'm forgetting the word, chronological order. It because it's only season, especially with the last couple episodes, where they did a lot of callbacks, or like the last few episodes where it was callbacks, especially the episode where Ashi was she started meeting people that Jack had saved over the series. And then, of course, bringing back the Scotsman, and I feel like probably my favorite cameo in episode of her and the tour of Jack's history was the Mongo popping up at the end at the bar. Like,
that was awesome.
It's like random the Mongo who we thought Aku killed. Okay, that was funny. And I think best surprise moment was the 300 army. And it's like, oh, okay, they came back.
I thoroughly enjoyed that. I mean, that's when like I knew, oh yeah, she's perfect.
Because
it's like, I got this, Jack. Like, you need to go handle yourself. Like, that was just beautiful.
And what was the part that Pharaoh tour? When she found the rave.
Yes, the rave episode was one of my favorites because I remember it most vividly, you know, when I was a kid. Because just I loved all the bright costumes and colors, like the thumping music. Like I used to have like the rave slave like theme stuck in my head all the time, and there's a part of me that like one day wants to do like a gender bent like rave slave Jack, but I have no idea how I would go about doing it. I think the pacifier would be easy to find.
The pacifier is easy. The cat in the hat would be easy to find.
That's a little bit more difficult. I do remember when they were more ubiquitous, where you could get them like in all colors and you would find them at the dollar store. I think even with Amazon, you have to dig a little deep to find them.
What about like a state fair?
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, I haven't been to one in I don't know how many years, but I know I see them. Like the last time I went was probably like 5 years ago. I don't remember, but yeah,
definitely.
yeah, you have to go on that deep Amazon spiral to find
Oh,
certain
trust me, I've
things.
I've, I've been there many, 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 many times.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I really did like the whole, going through Jack's history because I think it was a really clever way to almost, meet Jack's family or meet his chosen family. They really touched on the relationships that he had, with all of these like characters and everybody, and how much, they cared for Jack because even when, Ashi was basically completely in Aku mode, they were still there to support him. And I think that the purpose of that was to teach Jack that, he had social support all along. And that, even Ashi, like as awesome as she is, even if she were to go away, which that's about the time I started to suspect, okay, she's probably not going to last. Something will happen, or maybe she can't go back in time with Jack, or maybe like she'll have to kill herself or whatever. But Jack was still surrounded by, support. And I think that that was something that he had to realize with, his 50 years of isolation. It's that he was never really alone. And when you kind of go through the whole like memory lane, but also kind of seeing people, we recognized them like for who they were when we were watching the earlier seasons, but then actually like seeing, like little subtle changes. It kind of reminds you that these other characters who had significance in Jack's life at one time or another, their lives still went on. They still progress. Things still happened to them. They weren't just like accessories to Jack's story. And I thought that was a really nice way to tell that.
Right. I think probably like the best one, or at least there are several, but it's like when you got to see the dogs again.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, we only saw one of them, but it was still nice to see like, oh yeah, they're still there, and because they
Mm-hmm.
were the first people that Jack freed.
Yep.
And I think the best random one was the jump good got man the monkeys. I
Mm-hmm.
think that was just like a subtle like one of the simplest episodes Jack had. We just learned how to jump good. Oh, it's like
Yep.
okay, and I'm trying to remember because I've watched it in the season in full maybe 3 4 times, but still it's kind of hard to take in all of it, especially like the last 2 episodes. Um,
Yeah.
because you made a good point that you didn't think Ashi was gonna make it, and when you were talking, it made me think about the conversation they had in the second to last episode where she asked him, "Did he have someone?" And
Mm-hmm.
he said he didn't want her to be a memory. And my second time watching it, I was like, that was clever. That was like a foreshadowing moment.
Yep. It was. It was.
Oh, and even with him having support, to take the show back to the beginning where he got his first level of support, it
Mm-hmm.
showed him that they were always there,
Yes.
but yet to have him alone again, seemingly at the same tree that Aku spared.
Mm-hmm.
Just thought that it was interesting. It's the same tree. That the imagery of it was it's powerful, but
Mm-hmm.
I think like the nerd part of me was like, technically all this was the fault of the gods that missed that one piece of evil when they were destroying the evil in space. So this is all their fault, technically. But it's kind
Well,
of
I mean,
like
that's kind of like every story when you think about it.
true.
There's so many stories that are based with Greek mythology and the idea that, oh, the gods messed something up or somebody ticked off one of the gods and then this whole like kind of spiral thing kind of happened. So, I mean,
True.
everyone does that at some point. But I really liked with that last scene is that, Jack was sad, but he was at peace because
Hmm.
I think he was better for the experience, with Ashi and what she taught him and what he learned about himself. But that even though like he predicted, oh, I don't want her to be a memory, like he was still okay with that because
Right.
he knew that she will always live in his memory and that
Exactly.
experience cannot be taken away from him.
Mm-hmm. And it made me think about the scene when he found like the I don't know if it was like the temple or it was like the when he fought the Guardian before and then came back to it and saw the portal had been destroyed and the Guardian's glasses were destroyed on the ground. I think that was a really nice callback to I think that might have been season 3 when he lost the fight. The Guardian was shown that through the portal that Jack was going to be home and he was going to be king again, or he was going to be king one day. And
Mm-hmm.
seeing him back home kind of made me think like, well, in that picture he's by himself, and I started thinking about that. I was like, well, did that technically come true then? Although they didn't show that image again of him like having the beard. 'Cause I started thinking when they showed him having a beard, it's like, well, that's similar to the beard that he had in that episode like, for like that 1 second, and
Mm-hmm.
he's standing on like a cliff holding a sword. He has a crown, so I'm thinking maybe he'll keep the beard when he goes back in time. But either way, it's the writers did a fantastic job of making you feel. And to go from having him defeat like the robots of the week or something, and then go to he's actually fighting people. That
Mm-hmm.
that shows growth not only as his character, but to show you know the audience has grown in 15 years. So you can step it up a notch, yet
Mm-hmm.
still keep it grounded in a sense for children or say the young adults who did not grow up watching Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what do you think about that?
I really don't think I can add anything. I concur with that completely. I think it really showed that they were aware of, our generation who had like grown up like watching the show and all like the little callbacks and stuff that we picked up, but also the idea that almost like a meta, like, well, we're also like growing and we're having different conversations than we had in say like 2001. So it's different.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that was really astute on the part of, Genndy Tartakovsky and everybody for doing so. And I think that's also why they insisted on, having it play on Adult Swim rather than Cartoon Network.
I agree,
Mm-hmm.
especially with the amount of blood. I mean, it wasn't gratuitous blood, but it it did shake things up a notch. Whereas
It did.
Jack would only just be covered in oil, but you would
Mm-hmm.
see him get cuts and bruises, but he never really saw him bleed before.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say the one moment of the season that got me was when Aku killed the Scotsman.
Yeah.
I was like, really? You just gonna make him Obi Wan's ghost? Okay, cool. Which the irony of that, it was like, well, that didn't happen. You wouldn't have had like that um ghost shield to protecting people,
Mm-hmm.
but it was
Right.
it's interesting, and I'm very happy that in the last episode we got to hear the original theme and hear Mako's voice again. Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure when he passed away after the series ended, but I was hoping that we would have heard the theme at least once, and just to have it at that moment, that was nice to kind of show, like, this show has had a following, and we'll show the origins.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I'm pleased. I'm just waiting for the DVDs to come out.
Well, I mean, I always just want everything to come on Netflix so I could just consume it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still a little annoyed for them taking off the latter seasons of Powerpuff Girls. Darn you,
But
Netflix.
they're not there anymore.
Search, rewatch them Well, I think last time I checked, only the first 2 seasons were there, but I went into like 4 to 6, so they're not all there anymore.
That's
They were, and they were gone.
because I think
Yeah,
total it was like 70 episodes of Powerpuff Girls or something. I don't remember. Wow, that
it's pretty
sucks.
sizable. It lasted several seasons.
Did you watch the reboot at all?
I watched a little sampling on YouTube, and I don't know if it's my old age, but I was not impressed. I found it very
Um,
gimmicky and pandering, and I really couldn't get used to the voices. I tried really hard. Well, you know what? This is this generation, and we had ours, and these are like the little girls coming up now. But I don't know. I just felt it to be so contrived. What I really liked about the original series is that this was a show that featured little girls as superheroes, but it was not as saccharine as, say, the OG My Little Pony, where it was all just like magical rainbows and hearts and no intelligence and no substance. Because don't get me wrong, the modern My Little Pony, and I definitely watched like a few seasons, Pegasus Sister, that was actually very nuanced and I thought very well thought and quite progressive for the messages that they were trying to teach girls and boys as well.
mhm.
So I don't think Powerpuff Girls, the reboot, did that. I saw some episodes that were kind of like straight off subpar rips of the original episodes, like the sleepover episode. I literally like went to YouTube and found the clip of the original one. And like, see, that was funny.
I guess I guess
This is
they're
not.
I guess they're pulling on that whole if it's not broke, don't fix it thing.
Yeah, but either you could see something new about it or add something to it. But I felt like they basically ripped off like the original episode, but then like degraded it a little bit. Kind of dumbed it down. Um,
Great. I think
yeah, that's just my honest opinion.
I don't
Also, I
even
hate
think
Bubble's hair. That's a shallow thing, but I really hate her hairstyle.
I I could say the same thing about this Ben 10 remake or reboot. Like I I probably was one of the last few people that watched it straight through Omniverse, and although the animation style changed, they made him more of an adult to a certain degree, and then the reboot make him back to the 10-year-old again, and animation wise, and some of the voice actors are different. It's like this isn't working for me. So it might be our old age, or it just could be like, no, we had a better version, or we just had a version that we prefer. So I I think it goes on to the whole preference part. I think because I agree with you about the Powerpuff Girls remake because I saw a few episodes and I think the one I saw maybe a couple times was the one where the mayor was on Monster Island or something like that. I thought that
I
was
don't think I saw that
interesting.
one.
Say it again.
I said I don't think I saw that one.
It's I only remember a little bit of it, but the only thing it kind of did was it made the mayor not so helpless.
Oh, so they were trying to give him agency as opposed to the OG series where he was kind of like a dumb dad kind of character, like a dumb bumbling dad boss kind of.
Because he still seemed like the bumbling dad boss, but yet his little bit of time there, like he learned how to fend for himself. And I was like, oh, that's different because he didn't do that
Okay,
before. Calling
okay,
them to,
that might have been interesting.
I don't remember the episode names. Might like look at like Powerpuff Girls, Monster Island or something. And this see like a clip of something, but like calling them to open up pickle jars. All right, okay. But then Teen Titans
I do remember
Go.
I do remember that.
But Teen Titans Go kind of made the joke about the pickle jar thing about making Cyborg not play his music so he could actually do stuff. I was like, well, that's kind of funny. I just thought about that, but that's kind of funny. But
Teen Titans though. You either love it or hate it.
There are certain episodes I think are cool, and the other ones I'm like, no, not so much. As like, which is the one that I think I have two episodes that get my exception. Are the driver's ed episode and the
Yeah, that's a good one.
it's called 40 40 20, where Cyborg's playing this song over and over, and I actually bought the song on iTunes because it's like the night
So
the
they
night
did their job.
was it the night begins to shine. Like I bought that. I was like, this is clever. I like this, and like, all right, you got me this one time, but 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 I guess I can wonder now, like, now that always a lot of stuff from our childhood is ending or has ended. If they were to bring something else back or continue it, what would you want to see?
This is so biased, but I really wish they could do like an Adult Swim version of Dexter's Laboratory and have him like as a grad student at MIT or something. And Dee Dee becomes like this Instagram model, but she's still kind of doing like silly stuff.
That would work.
Yeah, like because the whole thing with Dexter's Laboratory is I don't think I would want them to reboot it. I would want them to update it because every time like I watch clips of that show, and again I'm biased because it was my very first favorite Cartoon Network cartoon, as in Cartoon Fridays and all that lineup. But I think that would be really interesting to see, especially since with Ego Trip we kind of saw what it would be like to see Dexter in like his 20s and 40s, but to actually like have a show follow that up but do it in a way that doesn't seem gimmicky and dumbed down like Rugrats All Grown Up. Yes, I am calling them out. That's why I would say for them to put it on Adult Swim.
Mm-hmm.
So that we can kind of update the humor, especially when, Dexter's Laboratory was already so inundated with, adult humor and pop culture humor that really was targeting the generation that was watching with us, as in, like our moms, dads, uncles, and aunts and whatever. And I think that's something that I would like to see.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what kind of technology do you think he would be coming up with, like in this day and age? Like with smartphones and, the smart glass visor thing. And I mean, who knows? I think there could be a lot of fun with that.
Because I know he just like went interdimensional portals back then, and might have been some teleporters. I'm trying to remember if it's just, or making a giant light switch. But still, it's funny. But you're right.
A giant cyborg help him with gym class.
Yes, that. Oh, that episode.
The dodgeball episode, yeah.
Yes.
One of the good ones.
That makes me wonder about that dodgeball movie. Like, did they just watch Dexter? Like, you know what? Let's make that into a movie. But, yeah. But you're right. I wouldn't want them to go the route of Rugrats All Grown Up. I don't remember that well, so that tells you a lot. But
yeah, I didn't stick with it for too long. I remember the Rugrats All Grown Up special, and I thought that was really cute, and it hooked me to give the actual series like a chance. But it was almost like they stripped everybody like of their original character. See, again, it has to do with that whole updating thing. Like, are you talking about like, Tommy at 12 years old, but like with the kind of infant Tommy, toddler Tommy that we fell in love with? Like if they could have given like hints of that, that would be cool. To me, it felt like the Rugrats All Grown Up characters were unrecognizable on purpose, with the exception of Angelica.
Right, and
they just sort of kept her as is, but now she's like wearing makeup and listening to music and going to the mall. But she was essentially the same person.
Mm-hmm. And I want to say Chucky was still kind of like the shy kid.
Kind of, sort of. He's still kind of shy, yeah.
But I think I only saw the special and probably never watched any of the series. I probably forgot to watch it. But yeah, you did more than me in that one. Good.
Yeah, I think I watched like maybe the first season. I had stopped.
Hmm.
And I think about that time, they were also doing As Told by Ginger, which was, an actual like played straight. These were about teenagers, and that was way more enjoyable. And it was by the same creators.
Um, did you watch Rocket Power?
Oh, absolutely. Who didn't?
Okay. Yeah, true. We didn't. And you're making me think about something that I guess I didn't think about. And I think this goes across the board with all generations, where there are shows that will appeal to that demographic at the time, but
Mm-hmm.
but then once you have matured to the next level, they'll still target you to a certain degree, but yet the stuff that comes after you, like it's like no, that's not for me because it's not made for us. Like I know
Mm-hmm.
there's some new shows coming on Cartoon Network now that I shake my head at, like I don't know why this is funny, but then again, people could say some things about what we watched and say that's not funny, but it was funny to us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I
Yeah,
think.
mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying like when I thought about, rocket power and how that became popular, I think it really also had to do with what was popular in general at the time. So that was, let me think, that puts it about like the late 90s. So that
Right.
was around the time that like Tony Hawk became a thing and like skater culture was kind of like repackaged and reinvented as like this cool thing. Like everybody wanted to be like the California like surfer skater kid. And that's I think
Mm.
how Rocket Power like sprung up. That was like a direct answer to that. That's when like kids were like rocking like Billabong and like Roxy and all that like in school and wearing like the puka shell necklaces. That was all
Mm.
made around that time, so it makes sense that it was popular
True.
and that it's nostalgic for us because it takes us back to that like end of elementary going into junior high time.
True. I and then before we close out, I want to say like there's going to be the Hey Arnold movie, the Jungle movie later this year, which I'm hoping will wrap up the series proper. And and I watched something this morning about that, saying that it's going to be like about a year's time, so they'll be finishing in fifth grade, going to sixth grade, and they'll
Mm-hmm.
probably be on the search for Arnold's parents. So I was like, okay,
Oh wow.
yes, get ready for the feels. Get ready for the feels. But yes.
Yeah, but the feels are coming.
Uh,
Definitely gotta have my mom do the permission slip for my feels trip.
yes. But
Hopefully that's good. I didn't enjoy the Hey Arnold movie. I thought the hero, I don't know, the Hey Arnold movie was just kind of like weird to me. Just like Doug's first movie, I try to like repress it from my memory. But honestly, there was that Hey Arnold episode, and I know we're like almost out of time, but
mm,
I think it was the married episode where it was about like if Arnold was married to Helga and like where everybody fell and how they grew up. And I actually thought that that made a whole lot of sense, and it was really amusing. Because every direction they took the character, I'm like, yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Helga would totally run for president and win and own it life. She definitely would. When she got all her psychological issues figured out and her confidence was intact, she was pretty much unstoppable.
yeah, I need to look at that episode, and I think
Yeah, you
I
should.
vaguely
It's a great
remember it, but I
episode.
remember it. Uh,
Yeah, it's a great episode. I think like Arnold has a dream or something and takes place like via dream sequence.
oh, nice. Yeah, those are always good. Always good.
Oh
Hmm.
yeah.
Uh, I mean, I guess you could say the same thing for Doug. Like if we got like an updated Doug, I'd take it. I mean, I like them when they put them. Did they put them in middle school? I think that was the Disney version of
Yeah,
Doug.
they put them in junior high, like seventh. It followed them like seventh or eighth grade, and the original Nick show I think just kept them in the sixth grade.
That's right.
But I really liked it better when it was just with Nickelodeon.
True,
That's
I
just me.
agree. Yeah, the Disney take it did push it more, especially making Roger and his mother become millionaires and living next to BB, and it was interesting to see it. But Nickelodeon's version was it's, it's preferred, but
I
but
think it was just, I liked that it was just more simple, you know?
hmm
Just, yeah.
I agree. But I do want to say thank you for joining me this evening to talk about Jack and other '90s, late 2000s shows. That was fun.
Yes. If
But
there's ever like a Jeopardy on that, I would so be there.
which Jeopardy could you see yourself be on? That's my question to you.
Oh, like you just said, like if it's on like 90s animation,
Oh, gotcha, gotcha.
yeah, I'd be the 6-day champion. Oh, Selena, she won again. Selena, she won again.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Where can people find you? I didn't ask you a lot about your cosplays, and we'll do that again another time. But where can people find you online?
So you can find me on my Facebook page. It's Selena the Wunderkat, Selena space the Wunderkat with the W, and it's the same name on Instagram as well.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you, and I
Mm-hmm.
hope everyone enjoyed the episode. And please follow Selena on her adventures, and we'll see you next time in the past, right? Okay, I had to throw it in there.
Back to the past. Samurai Jack. Gotta get back.
Hey, Bubbles, you want chocolate?
What's chocolate? Oh wait, no, I know what chocolate is. Chocolate is like ice cream?
No! It's chocolate. I turn people into chocolate.
You turn people into chocolate?
Yeah,
Is that something the professor can do?
No.
Professor, can you turn someone into chocolate? He says no.
I want chocolate. I turn Townsville to chocolate.
Well, right now we're actually about to fight like the big ice cream monster, but I think they're strawberry. They're like pink and stuff.
But you know what? I'm just gonna go to the Blerdlines podcast because it's my show.
What's a podcast? Are they like little like pods, like pod people?
People talk, and I turn them to chocolate.
Blossom actually says it's something that you play on the internet and people listen to it. Blossom is so smart.
That's why I closed my eyes. Like I cannot give a straight face. I was about to switch over to this.
Dad.
Simba.
You have forgotten who you are, and so you've forgotten me. Look inside yourself, Simba. You are more than what you've become. Also hype for Lion King.